Unreal, dude. I think I'm done for the day. I don't think I can do anymore. I've just been taking hit after hit. What is up, friends, family, and internet haters? Welcome to another vlog. This one's at Gate City Casino in New Hampshire. It's my first time here. I heard they have a 1-3 match the stack that plays very big, so I'm looking forward to a nice, fun game. Brought a couple of friends with me for the content. End up having a very swingy session. Some of the worst bad beats of my life, honestly. And but we have fun. Look at this. We make the best of it. Look at this. I'm Kyle. Come join me as I dive into the ups and downs, the wins, the losses, and everything in between. From poker tips and strategies to behind-the-scenes looks in my life, there's a lot to explore. So hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring the bell for notifications. Let's stack those chips together and enjoy the ride. This is POT Poker. All right, on the way to Gate City Casino in New Hampshire. Got my tall boy Diet Coke. Gonna crush up an Adderall right now. Oh, I'm not gonna crush it up. I'm gonna administer it, self-administer it as prescribed by my doctor. And I got two guests with me today for some content.
No, that's possible.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
How we doing?
What's going on?
Oh, chilling. It's fucking 8 a.m. right now.
Oh, no, it's not. All right, we sit down at the 1-2 table with our friends directly across from us, and we buy in for $300, which is the max while we wait for the 1-3 game to open up. One of the first things we look down at is pocket threes from the button, and we open it up to $6. I usually like to open to like $10 or $12 in a 1-2 game, trying to keep it aggressive. And I know in a 1-2 game, 2.5 to 3 times the big blind isn't always a standard, but I'm trying to switch it up here and be better in case I do get 3-bet. It's not an astronomical price. Anyways, I get one caller from JQ Poker in the big blind, and we go heads up to a flop of deuce, king, 5 with 2 spades. He checks to me, and I c-bet for $7. He calls, and I go to a jack of hearts on the turn. A second check from JQ, and I elect to check back and see a river. When another scare card in the queen of diamonds hits, and JQ decides not to stab at this massive pot, I think I may have the best hand, but because there are so many possibilities to lose to, and JQ may very well expect me to try to bluff this river, I decide to stay safe and passive and check back. I have pocket threes.
Fuck, really?
We probably would have got a snap fold to any bet on that river anyways, so we take the first one against JQ with a 1-better pair. But worry not, for he gets it back. And then some. This next one we open from under the gun to $6 with pocket sevens. We get one caller from this geriatric in the big blind and go heads up to an ace, deuce, deuce flop. Check from the big blind and I continue for $10. He flicks in the call and another 2 hits the turn, and unless he has a weak ace, we're in a good spot here. I feel he would have 3-bet pre-flop with any pocket pair higher than mine, but you can't be too sure with these geezer 1-2 players. I bet $15 and get called again. Now I think for sure he has an ace. When the river comes out a 9 of clubs and this guy now leads out for $35, he only has an ace here. No guy over 65 has ever called flop, called turn, and led river for anything less than value. But because I'm absolute shit and never listen to my own reads, I call. Also, my extended release Adderall is still trying to poke through and take over, but I just took it walking in this place, so he's still waking up. Anyway, I was right, a weak ace takes this pot. After topping back up to $300, I'm in the $5 straddle with pocket eights. Small blind and big blind both call the straddle, and I make it $15. The small blind then limp shoves for $82 total. The limp shove is alerting, but I can't nit fold eights to a short stack. So I call, and we're flipping against ace-jack offsuit. And we see a horrendous jack of clubs right in the window. No help anywhere else, and we double this guy up. Love how this session is going. Another hour, maybe 90 minutes go by, and I don't see a single playable hand. I make the decision to sit out and wait for the 1-3. And, you know, if the game isn't working for you, no shame in taking a break. About an hour in, waiting for 1-3. Down like $200 at 1-2, and I blame it on the Pepsi. All right, first hand in 1-3, we buy in for $500, and we get into it again with JQ, and not for the last time. JQ opens from our right to $10 from under the gun, and we have a good 3-bet spot here with King 10 of diamonds and the +1. I make it $40, and there's folds around. JQ now 4-bets me to $90, and now I'm thrown off a little bit. JQ likes to open light, even 3-bet light, but 4-bet? I'm not so sure. This might be 100% strength. JQ likes to get out of line a bit and switch it up, so honestly, to any other rando at this table, I may have folded, but I decide to put in the call, and we go heads up to a flop of 6-5 jack with 1 diamond. JQ continues, but down bets to $35, and I quickly call. I wish I thought about it more, maybe debated a raise, or at least made it seem like I was debating a raise, because I called a little too quick for my liking looking back. The turn comes a board pairing 6, and JQ slows down and checks. I feel like maybe his bluff is now failed and he's slowing down the turn, so I bet $85, taking the lead. JQ thinks for a few and looks like he's gonna fold when he uses my own damn sticker as an all-in chip and shoves for approximately $400. I snap fold, again way quicker than I'd like. Had it been another diamond, I would have considered calling, but now I'm glad it wasn't a diamond because he shows the camera for the vlog saying not to look at the time because I'll get tilted, but honestly, not really. He did have the best hand, but if that diamond had come out, it would have been not good for me. But now I definitely know he can get out of line and 4-bet extremely light. He is such a dildo. Sorry, JQ's mom. I know you watch the vlog. Another JQ hand coming up here. I'm already sick of his face on the screen. We're in the small blind with a pretty ace-jack of clubs, and there's a limp from the under the gun and the cutoff, and then JQ limps on the button. I raise it up to $20 to get rid of all these limpers, but if it's good for 3, it's good for 20. All the limpers call, and we go 5-handed to a tremendous flop of ace-jack 9 with 2 diamonds. No clubs though, but top 2 doesn't suck. I check out of position with 4 people behind with intentions to raise if somebody opens, which of course no one does, and now we go to a scary 8 of diamonds on the turn. I bet $25 to see where I'm at, and if I get raised, I'll be put in a tough spot with the straights and the flushes completing with the turn here. JQ is the only one to stick around, and the river comes in another horrendous card, the 7 of clubs. There's now a 4-liner to the straight on the board, but I continue the aggression, targeting 1 pair hands, maybe with a high diamond, and I make it 35, almost as a blocker bet. JQ then 3-bets to 125, and now I don't know if he's f***ing with me or just sun running. You're kidding me, dude. Unreal, these fucking runouts. Looking back, I had good pot odds, but I had a feeling I was beat here. The 4-liner, the completed flush, my tilt now coming on from the last couple of hands. But a few hands ago, he shoved on me with what he thought was a bluff. Granted, it was the best hand, but he thought he was beat. Now he's betting differently. This bet screams value. I make a tight fold, and he's blown away with the fact that I can fold top 2. He shows a 6 of spades, thinking it would make me think he was bluffing, but why not show both? Because the other one was a 10, or a 5. I have no doubt. I for sure was beat here. Say what you want. Topped back up to around $800. It is matched the stack at this 1-3 game, so it's gonna start playing big. Now we're here in the cutoff with King 10 offsuit and face an open of $20. I call along with the big blind, and we go 3 ways in position to a Queen Deuce 7 monotone board. Quick checks around, and the turn comes the 3 of clubs. Big blind checks again, and now the initial aggressor stabs out for $30. With the King of Hearts in my hand, I can definitely continue at that price, and the big blind likes the price as well, so we're still 3-handed to a 3 of Hearts on the river. Even though the board is now paired, we river the second nut flush. The big blind checks for the 3rd time, and now the initial aggressor continues, now for a bet of $135. Is he now betting for max value, assuming any decent heart will call when he has the Ace of Hearts? Or is he betting this amount trying to get the Ace of Hearts to call after flopping a set and now boating on the river? Whatever the case, I didn't think as long as I should have because I called pretty quickly. Big blind folds, and we're given more bad news. So sick, dude. I should go home. A few hands later, I'm like 6.5 out of 10 tilt, and I look down at 10-7 of diamonds in the small blind. Our friend from the last hand opens again from the cutoff to $25. Since he's been opening pretty light and I'm tilting and out for revenge, I call. The big blind comes along as well, and we go three ways out of position to a pretty decent flop of 10-7-6 all clubs. I just can't seem to get a clean top two, can I? I check, and it checks through to an ace of diamonds on the turn. Now I have to try to get value. I bet $40. Big blind calls, and now middle position shoves all in for around $550. I'm in another tough spot. I no longer have top two, there's a straight and a flush on the board, and now I'm facing a severe overbet. I again feel like I'm beat and eventually choose to lay it down. My opponent doesn't show, but later on he comes up to me and states he had ace-7 and shoved to protect against another club coming. Another good two-pair laydown. Sucks I have to keep doing that though. Alright, now I get moved to the main table where there's a mandatory $5 straddle, and these guys have been here a while. There are like $5,000, $6,000 stacks here at the 1-3 game, and just in the first few hands I witnessed, there have been multiple blind all-ins for multiple thousands of dollars, and the standard open over here is like $50. The guy in seat 7's going all in every hand and double dookie bets up to a couple $1,000 to immediately taking him down to like $50 in front after dookie called in all in blind with ace queen and lost to 10-5 offsuit when a 5 hit the flop. I'm honestly close to just giving up and accepting the fact that this has been the session from hell and not playing this $5, $10 game that's pretending to be a 1-3 game. That is until I look down at ace-10 of hearts from the big blind and look at 4 limpers in front of me. I make it $40 to go. I get one fold, and then that maniac in seat 7 limp raises me to $100 total. I call, planning on shoving any flop and get a decent one anyways. Ace-7-7. I check, maniac throws in 2 black chips, and I shove. Get a pretty predictable and quick call. He says he needs runner to win, and you know what? If it was going to happen, it would be today. But another 7 hits the turn, giving me top full house, and then a useless king of hearts gives us the check mark, and he mucks, giving us our first big win of the day. This next hand shows why past experience can never really tell the future. I'm in the straddle with 9-6 of clubs, and there's an open to $25 on the button. Small blind, big blind, and myself come along, and the board gives us a pair on a pretty wet 5-6-7 2 hearts flop. It checks through, and the turn gives an offsuit deuce. Small blind now throws out $55, and I don't buy it, so I come along and try to improve. The big blind and the button fold, and we go heads up to a board pairing deuce on the river. Small blind tosses out $75, and with nothing but middle pair on a wet and connected board, I decide to lay it down. I think I'm making great laydowns today until the small blind shows ace-8 offsuit for a missed open ender. A better player would have seen his missed bluffs there and made the call. Speaking of better players sniffing out bluffs, this next hand is a doozy. I'm in the big blind with what is becoming my least favorite hand, king-jack of clubs. There were folds to me in the big blind, and I would have just chopped until I realized there is a straddle in play, so I make it $25, and the straddle then comes along. Heads up to a 5 deuce 3 flop 1 club. I check out of position as I usually do, and now the straddle takes the lead with a $25 bet. That flop definitely hits his range more than mine, but I call not fully convinced. The 6 of clubs hits the turn, giving us pretty decent equity on a king-high flush draw. I check and flow, and the straddle bets out for $50, and I call, hoping for a club. When I inevitably miss with the 10 of spades river, I think back to that geriatric asshole from the first hand. Smooth call the flop, smooth call the turn, and lead on the river. That must scream strength and value, right? I dunk out for $100. He tanks for a little while, and then tosses in a black chip. Looking back, I see he has a $5,000-ish stack behind him, so who the fuck was I trying to scare? He calls my $100 river bet with a pair of fucking deuces. What a humbling slap in the fucking face. I suck at this game. And now it is time for the hand of the night, and it is against who other than our session rival, JQ Poker. And if you don't subscribe to his channel yet, be sure to continue to not subscribe and proceed with your life. JQ opens from middle position, and us having the beautiful ace-queen of diamonds, I have a pretty easy 3-bet against our pal. I make it $50. The button, with that monster stack to my left, calls, and so does JQ, and we go 3 ways to a king-jack-4 flop with 1 diamond. Gut shot straight draw and a backdoor royal flush draw feels pretty good with how this session has been going. JQ checks, and because that flop is all my range, I bet $75, hoping to take it right here and now. I'm not a greedy man. But that is thwarted when the button calls, and so does JQ. Now, if I had that cool catchphrase like bang or bink or look at that sweet baby there, now would be the time to use it, because the turn is the 10 of diamonds. We nail our Broadway straight and the gut shot royal flush draw to boot. When JQ checks again, I start seeing dollar signs. But then shit gets weird, because I bet 125 and get smooth called by the button, and then min-clicked to 250 from JQ. Am I chopping this pot with another ace-queen? Is somebody overvaluing a set? Does someone have queen 9? Is it going to get coolered? I don't know what's going on, but this is all going through my mind. But there's nothing else for me to do here but shove all in. The button ends up folding, and JQ puts in the snap, and I very confidently show my ace-queen for the current nuts when he so dildo-ishly shows a set of 4, and with no worries in his voice, he says, and wouldn't you know it, the 10 of hearts pairs the board. It is the night of JQ. Unreal, dude. I think I'm done for the day. I don't think I can do anymore. I've just been taking hit after hit.
That guy likes to run so bad.
Unfucking believable, dude. After taking a long walk and then realizing I'm stuck here because I drove these 2 other assholes, I buy back in for $1,200. So now I'm in this game for around $2,400 or so. I don't know, I lost count. I borrowed some from JQ. I don't know. Oh, anyway, first hand back, I look down at another red ace-queen as if the deck is now needling me. Let's see if I can get sucked out on this one, shall we? I'm in the big blind and the $5 straddle is on. I make it $20 to go and get 1 call from the button. We go heads up to a queen high board. That's gotta be good, right? I continue for another $20, snap call from the button. 2 of hearts on the turn, giving me top pair and now a backdoor flush draw. $35 to see a river. Button now raises me to 150 total. What the f*** does he have here? What is he calling my pre-flop raise with? He is on the button, so he could be super wide. Set of deuces that floated the flop, 2 pair, worse flush draws. Even with all these possibilities, I'm too strong to fold here, so I make the call. The river comes a bullshit 3 of diamonds, and now I check to the aggressor with my top pair. He checks back and shows queen 6 for a flopped 2 pair. This session has been going swimmingly. Every dealer change, there's a double board Holdem bomb pot. Everyone puts $15 in the middle, gets 2 cards, and we go right to a double flop. We have a suited ace here and with the top board, but we have the nut flush draw on the bottom. Checks around a dookie in the +1 position who makes it $45. Small blind calls, and I stick around as well. Again, more BS on the top board, but we nail the ace high flush on the bottom. But of course, it's not the nut flush because there's a damn straight flush on the board now. It would be the day I'm losing to that as well. Dookie continues for 75, and the small blind raises now to 150. At this point, I'm almost positive that they're playing the top board. There isn't really anything going on down bottom unless they're overvaluing 2 pairs or sets. Either way, I'm hoping to chop one of these guys' money. I call, and Dookie does as well. A 9 on the top at least gives me something up there, and the 4th club hits the bottom. It's pretty irrelevant when I have the ace high flush. I'm still losing to the straight flush, but small blind now checks, and I toss in $200. Dookie then shoves all in, and the small blind tanks and tanks and tanks, but eventually calls. God, am I happy. I'm going nowhere, and we have a 3-way all-in on this double board bomb pot. Dookie has a full house up top, which beats the small blind's trip queens, and we lock down the bottom board, chopping up the small blind's money with Dookie. Ends up being a pretty good-sized chunk of change, and it's finally moving in the right direction. Maybe things are now going to start going my way when I look down at the Cowboys from the button. There's an open to $15 from the hijack and a 3-bet to $35 from who other than JQ in the cutoff. Easy 4-bet from me to $100. Looking back, I probably could have gone bigger for sure, but that's an ongoing issue I have to deal with. Only JQ makes the call, and we go in position to a flop of 2, 3, 5 rainbow. Ew. JQ checks, and I check as well. Turn comes a 7 of clubs, and JQ checks again, and I make it $60, convinced I still have the best hand, but could still maybe get value from ace-king, ace-queen type hands. JQ calls, and we go off to a 10 of clubs on the river. A third check from JQ, and I bet $100.
I'm such a fish. I want to call so bad. I don't even have a pair, Kyle.
Then you should call. You should 100% call my ace-king that I have.
Well, how can I call with no pair if you have ace-king?
I can't. If I just lied and said I had ace-king, because if I was telling the truth, I'd be breaking the rule.
I really think you have ace-king though. But I lose to ace-king, you sicko.
All right, ace-queen.
Wow. This guy, can I get a table change? How do I play with these super pros? What the fuck is that?
Set off. Oh. You lied.
I did, yes. A couple hands later, Dookie gets bluffed off of a hand and now has to do 10 push-ups, I guess, because this is what happens when you play poker with 22-year-olds in good shape. Well, to the 2% female viewership, there you go. Poker is poker, money is money, and friends are friends. We buy a round of beers and cheers before playing the last hand of the night. It sucks to be stuck, but I'm also happy my buddy's having quite the sun run here tonight. Good job, Julian. I'd love to say you deserve it, but I can't. I can't say I'm glad a great guy is getting lucky, though. Now let's try to end here on a high note. We look down at King 10 of spades in the straddle and see an under-the-gun open from Dookie for $20. The hijack calls, small blind calls, and I'm in there as well, and we go 4 ways to a 9, 6, 5 flop with 2 spades. Checks to the hijack, who is that aggressive player from earlier that I folded to pair to and got me on the ace high flush when I had the king high flush. He bets 90. That gets rid of everyone except me. I'm in there like swimwear, praying to just hit my flush on the turn so I don't have to sweat it on the river, and the gods were listening because the beautiful jack of spades hits the turn. I check, hoping to entice a bet, which is exactly what happens when he tosses in a single black chip. I take my time and then raise to 300 total when the hijack then jams all in, which is music to my ears. I just hope he doesn't flip over that ace-high flush like he hit us a few hours ago, but he does not. We call, and our king-high flush is good. He mucks, saying he had a baby flush, and we made the maximum, and we end this session still stuck, but on a high note. If I didn't have to relieve my babysitter, I could probably do some work here. I'm driving.
Oh, dude, don't get me taking a shot like a pussy.
No, dude, I want to. I want everybody to know the real you.
No chaser.
We rack up, share another drink with these guys, and head home. We're in this game for $2,400, cashing out for $1,850, meaning we have a loss of $550 here at Gate Casino. But honestly, I can't wait to come back. The floor staff was great, the game is fun, and they have no problem with filming or doing push-ups at the table. Dookie and JQ also said the food is amazing. I would have tried, but for some reason, I wasn't hungry. Well, anyway, thanks for sticking around to the end. Please like the video, subscribe, and click that bell for notification. It really helps the channel. And if you don't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to my pals as well. They push out great content, much more educational than mine. And also, feel free to follow me on Instagram. I post some funny stuff on there sometimes. And now that the holidays are winding down, I'm going to try to get videos out more frequently. Feel free to stick around and watch some more videos on my channel. I appreciate the support. Thanks, guys.